Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be covering a video I came across by YouTube user Owen Benjamin's Bear Cave, titled Circumnavigation Supports Flat Earth. In this video, Flat Earther, deep inside the rabbit hole, or DITRH, is having a live conversation with a true human asshat named Owen Benjamin. Now, Owen Benjamin is a self-proclaimed truther who, like the rest of all Flat Earth idiots, is not interested in the truth at all. He admittedly hates Chinese and Jewish people, thinks everything is a conspiracy to hide the truth, and he can definitely prove that we didn't go to the moon. But the only thing Owen Benjamin is going to prove in this video is that he is a total fucking idiot. Now I want to say thank you to all my patrons and channel members whose support helps me make videos like these. So let's begin.
Alright, so when you go east and west are circles around the magnetic pole, whether it's the axis of a ball or the center of the flat earth. It's the magnetic center. You hold your compass out and the compass will point towards the north, right? So if the north is that way and I want to go west, I'm going to go west. But as I go, I have to stay equidistant from that North Pole magnet. So west on a ball earth or a flat earth is a circle.
Right. No,
and east is a circle.
I see that
South
completely. That one never got me. The whole I go around the earth. It's like that makes total sense on dome earth or just not sphere earth to me. That one never got me.
DITRH, do you not realize that on a flat earth, due east and due west are two-dimensional curved lines, whereas in reality, due east and due west are straight lines that curve along a third axis, allowing them to remain straight with no deviation along the x and y axis and still curve back on itself so that you finish at the same point that you started. This well-known fact also explains the equatorial traversal of the sun appearing to be a straight line on the surface of the earth during the equinoxes, whereas on a flat earth map, the sun never travels in a straight line. The flat earth model simply cannot account for these empirical and historical observations, therefore it does not fit reality. As far as the compasses go, flat earthers would have to try to explain how and why a northern magnetic pole exists without a southern magnetic pole. To this day, we have never observed a natural magnetic monopole, and only an idiot would assert that the earth is the one special condition.
So,
well, it only makes sense because billions of people have circumnavigated the earth east or west. Nobody's done it south.
No one ever does it north-south. And why does no one talk about that?
Both of you guys are such fucking idiots. In 1982, the Guinness Book of World Records added Ranulph Fiennes and Charles Burton to the record books as the first people to make a surface circumnavigation of Earth crossing both poles. It took them 2 years, 361 days, but eventually they crossed both the North and South Poles and returned to their starting point in Greenwich, England.
Here's where you get confused. So, see, there's a circle map behind me, but if you go north, which is towards the center, you can go over the north and go to the other side of the world.
Right.
So you go north, and then as soon as you pass the center, you're now going south. But if you keep going in any direction, it becomes south. If you point your compass west, then put your compass down and head in a straight line, you're heading south.
DITRH, you're dumb as dog shit, dude. Due west does not head south at any time and remains perpendicular to due north and south without any deviation along the x or y axis. Let me demonstrate this. Imagine that you are driving in a car on the equator heading east, and you wanted to circumnavigate the Earth. If the Earth were flat, then your two-dimensional coordinate system would consist of both an x and a y axis. We will call the y axis your left-right axis, and the x-axis as your front-back axis. On a flat Earth model, anytime you orient yourself so that your y-axis is pointed directly at the North Pole, you are by definition pointing due east. If you begin driving straight, you will immediately notice that the y-axis will begin falling out of alignment with the North Pole, meaning you are no longer perpendicular, and you are now heading in a southern direction. This is not what we see in reality. But on a globe, we are now working with a third dimension, the z-axis, which allows your car to orient itself in another dimension without violating its need to be perpendicular to the north and south. This is what matches our reality, as due east and due west are straight lines with no deviation on the x and y axis, only deviation on the z axis. This is by far one of the easiest proofs to understand that shows that the earth cannot be flat, but flat earthers don't get it, because flat earthers are idiots.
Oh yeah, I cut you off about the baskets. Finish your basket thought. I did a Jew joke. Finish the basket. My bad.
The basket is whatever we talk about. It could either go into that works on a flat Earth, only on a flat Earth, or that works only on a ball Earth, or hey, that works on both. Circumnavigation east and west works on both.
It does.
Circumnavigation south only works on a flat Earth.
DITRH, you're an idiot. Any attempt to circumnavigate the flat Earth north to south would end up running into your imaginary flat Earth dome, or would just continue on forever. I've recently seen some flat earthers that suggest that there may be a portal on one side of the flat Earth that immediately transfers you to the other side of the flat Earth, suggesting more of a Pac-Man Earth. I mean, who knows? I've personally seen a movie where a child was swept up by a tornado and dropped off in Oz, so I guess anything's possible on a flat Earth.
And my expertise is not in some of these technical fields. Like some pilots I know think the Earth is flat. One pilot wrote to me to ask you about direct communication, why sometimes if you go too low, they have a hard time communicating because of the perceived curve of the Earth versus higher. Do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, so that gets into perspective and angles of attack. You know, when you're looking or sending a radio wave, the farther out it goes, the angle of attack gets less and less and less and less. Like,
while Owen Benjamin might be an expert in being a racist and a total fucking idiot, I happen to have been a radar tech in the Navy in my younger days, and this angle of attack bullshit was never mentioned in my education. This is because angle of attack is a completely made up phrase by Jism and Nathan Oakley to try to confuse people just enough to believe they're bullshit. An omnidirectional radar wave diverges from its point of origin, meaning height really doesn't matter. Unless you are flying right next to the ground, you should always be in line of sight of the radar, and has nothing to do with perspective or angle of attack. The only way that height would make a difference in the ability to see the radar waves is if the lower elevation is inside of what we call a radar shadow that's created by an obstruction, and the higher elevation is outside of the radar shadow. This obstruction that keeps the lower elevation planes from seeing the radar is the Earth.
if you, let's just say you in a long hallway, you're in one of those long hotels in Vegas, and you laying down on the floor, you have a camera down on the floor, and somebody's walking down the hallway, their feet are going to disappear before they get to the end of that hallway because of the angle of attack. And it's the same thing with radio waves too.
No, DITRH. If you put a camera right next to the floor and a person starts walking down a long hallway, the minor imperfections in the floor can cover more and more of the person walking away from the camera, due to perspective. This explains the floor observation, but it does not explain radar shadows, because radars on ships at sea don't have to worry about obstructions on the ground for planes that are miles in the air. The only obstruction that keeps a plane from being hit by the radar waves is the curve of the Earth.
So as they're going, so people say, when the sun sets and I went up higher and I saw the sun again, I saw it set again, that proves the ball Earth. No, it doesn't. It just proves that you've raised your angle and you now have a better perspective and you've increased the viewing angle of whatever it is you're looking at.
Right.
Wrong again, idiot. If the sun was 3,000 miles in elevation and the sub-solar point was several thousand miles away from you on the ground, then going up in elevation by a few hundred feet wouldn't actually change your viewing angle by very much, due to perspective. However, on a globe Earth with a radius of about 4,000 miles, your visible horizon would extend by several miles by raising up slightly in elevation. For example, an observer at 6 feet of elevation will have a visible horizon of about 3 miles in all directions. By increasing the viewer height by only 500 feet, we increase the distance to the visible horizon by about 24.5 miles. This is why increasing in elevation allows a person with a drone or in a tall building to see 2 sunsets or sunrises in one day.
But this gets a little complicated, and I'll just give you the brief explanation. Looking at something from a terrestrial point of view, looking at something else that is on the ground, a terrestrial object, that's going to shrink, and when its size gets too small for your eye to resolve, the angular resolution limits of your eye make it disappear. But if a terrestrial viewer looking at a celestial object like the sun or the moon, as it goes away, it's going to drop down and it's going to get eclipsed by the atmospheric layer in between.
So what you are saying is that there are special rules that apply to objects in the sky versus objects on the ground. No, you idiot. That's not how science works. Either the same rules apply to everything, or the rules you are applying are irrelevant. And as I stated already, a sun that is several thousand miles away and several thousand miles in the sky would not have that great of a viewing angle change when going up in elevation just a couple hundred feet.
If you're looking down, I could look down Long Island Sound here, and about 25 miles away, the clouds look like they're touching the horizon because everything is compressed. Well, the sun is above that, and as the sun goes away, it's going to get eclipsed behind that cloud deck, which looks like the horizon, but it's not.
Again, you are completely wrong. If the sun was several thousand miles in elevation, it would never touch the horizon. It would simply make a huge circle over our heads, going from largest at solar noon to smallest at solar midnight. Now, I can't understand how flat earthers can use perspective as a staple of their belief system and not accept this prediction that perspective makes. Maybe because flat earthers are willfully ignorant morons, or maybe because they're intellectually dishonest idiots.
Yeah.
If you want to learn about how perspective works, there's a video that was just put out on the Jeranism channel. Someone tell me the name, but it's about perspective. It's a couple days old, and it's a long video. It's like 2 hours, but it will explain how things disappear due to perspective and how there's the vanishing point and how things disappear from the bottom up.
I completely disagree. If you want to learn about perspective, visit an educational art website or a physics website covering optics. That will give you the true definition of perspective and the mathematical equation that accompanies it. Visit Jism's channel if you want to learn how to be a dishonest con man and take thousands of dollars from mentally inferior flat earth idiots.
There's a podcast called Dome Life by Paul on the Plane, and he does a lot of NASA stuff, but he had a pilot on that was talking where he knew the earth was flat, and he told a story about how I'm probably screwing this up a little bit, but how he talked to other pilots and they're like, really, what do you mean? And he's trying to convince them. So they, on multiple transatlantic trips, they brought globes on, they're tracking themselves, and it took the pilots about a year to go, okay, it's not a globe, it's flat.
I'm not sure if this is the same anecdotal interview from Paul on the Plains channel or not, but Wolfie6020, a great YouTuber and an actual intercontinental airline pilot, debunked that fake pilot's claims without a doubt. It seems as if lately, gullible flat earth idiots are just buying any story that comes out that supports their narrative without fact-checking the sources first.
Ahoy hoy, Jism. What do you think about people like yourself believing that document that says that Globe Earth YouTubers get paid by NASA?
Pretty sad if you ask me.
I agree. I think there's something we can all learn from it.
Their stupid hoax?
You sound a bit salty there, Jism. Anyway, if you want to know what I'm on about, click the link above my head, or maybe it's over there. I don't know what Team Skeptic's doing.
I mean, everything about an airplane is flying over the Earth plane. You know, if you look at flight routes from Santiago, Chile, it goes all the way up to the United States, across the United States, and then back down to the south rather than cutting across. But watch that on a flat map. Every line is a straight line.
Wow. Now that was a whole bunch of useless information. A plane starts in Santiago, Chile, goes up to the United States, then back down south? How about giving us a starting point and ending point so that we can compare it to a great circle and see if it matches our model? Now, for those of you who don't know what a great circle is, it's any line that connects 2 points on a sphere in the shortest distance possible. It also happens to go all the way around the sphere and meet back up at its starting point. Examples of great circles in reality are the equator and lines of longitude. However, the equator is the only line of latitude that's also a great circle. All other lines of latitude are not great circles. Let me give you an example. Let's take 2 points that are not on the equator but share a common latitude. Now, one might think that the shortest distance between these 2 points would be the line of latitude that they are on. However, this is not the case. Let's assign the 2 points to the coordinates of 45 degrees north, 90 degrees east, and 45 degrees north, 90 degrees west. This puts the 2 points on opposite sides of the globe. Now, by doing some calculations, we can compare the 2 distances between the 2 points along the line of latitude and the 2 points along the line of their great circle. Given a radius of 4,000 miles, a line of latitude at 45 degrees north will make a circle on the Earth that is parallel to the equator that has a radius of 2,828.43 miles, giving it a circumference of 17,771.53 miles. We already said that the 2 points are on exact opposite sides of the Earth, so we can divide the circumference by 2 to get a distance along the 45th parallel of 8,885.77 miles. If we take that measurement along the Great Circle with a radius of 4,000 miles, we will see that the circumference of the Earth is 25,132.74 miles, which is larger than the other circumference. However, we will only need to use 90 degrees or 1/4 of the circumference, and that comes out to 6,283.19 miles, which is about 2,600 miles shorter. So it is actually a shorter distance to follow the Great Circle and not the lines of latitude, which makes perfect sense on a globe Earth.
In the flight manual from NASA and federal area FAA, it says to treat the Earth as a flat, non-rotating plane.
Right.
Okay? In their calculation, flat, non-rotating plane. What does that tell you?
Well, for starters, that tells you that they are all in the same frame of reference. If the Earth was erratically changing speeds or directions, then that would present a problem for pilots. But since the Earth is rotating with a constant velocity and conservation of momentum is a thing, you can treat the Earth as non-rotating and flat, just as you can treat the inside of your car as not moving when traveling at a constant velocity. And the phrase treating something as if it were flat is not the same as saying it is flat. DITRH, you're an idiot.
Dude, just the spinning of the Earth when you're going east to west or west to east, if it's going 1,000 miles an hour and you're in a 300 mile per hour plane and you're in part of the atmosphere that apparently is so thin it doesn't get sucked out of an infinite vacuum, how the fuck does that not affect your flight map?
Owen Benjamin, you're an idiot. There is no such thing as an infinite vacuum, and the vacuum of space doesn't suck like a Hoover does. And plane flights that are about 6 miles up don't have to worry about getting sucked into the vacuum of space, since the Kármán line doesn't even start until about 62 miles up.
And people are like,
How about
the
this?
Coriolis Effect with snipers. I'm like, I know snipers that have killed 50 fucking people, and they'll tell you straight up there's no Coriolis Effect with the bullet. That's bullshit.
You know, if they shoot and it's a little left, they just aim a little to the right. It has nothing to do with Coriolis.
No,
They're a little
it's about
left,
their scope.
move to the right.
It's about how many yards it's bullshit.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. In the heat of battle, when hitting the target the first time counts the most, instead of taking the Coriolis into account, they just tell the snipers to miss the first shot and adjust accordingly. You can tell that neither one of these two idiots have ever been in the military. The Coriolis effect is something that is very subtle and therefore can only really be observed over large distances. The average sniper is simply not shooting at targets that are kilometers away, and therefore the Coriolis effect is minimal.
So just think about this. You know, the baller explanation for airplanes, an airplane sitting on a runway at the equator is traveling 1,000 miles per hour before it even starts moving. So whether it's going east or west, it takes that momentum and flies, and it has its 500 miles an hour land speed. So it's either going 1,500 miles an hour or negative 500 miles an hour, but its land speed is 500 miles an hour. What about an airplane that takes off from northern Alaska where its land speed is only like 200 miles an hour because it's so close to the center of rotation, flies to the equator? How does it make up that 700-800 miles per hour?
Oh, I don't know, DITRH. Maybe with these or I don't know, these or these and these and oh yeah, these. Dirth, you're a fucking idiot.
And I made an app that shows you where you are on the Earth.
I love how Owen Benjamin is completely not paying any more attention to Dirth. And when Dirth realizes this, he thinks to himself, hopefully this idiot likes lights. And this is his reaction.
So I don't know if you can see this. Everyone said they couldn't see it last time.
Hysterical, dude.
No, Owen, you and every other flat earth idiot are hysterical. And as far as that app goes, download it if you want, but don't try to use it for anything purposeful like navigation. Remember what Durst said earlier. On his map, when you're going east, you're actually going south. That Flat Earth Clock app is just another way for the leaders of the Flat Earth cult to suck the money out of the pockets of mentally incapable Flat Earth idiots.
I'm gonna get that because I find that fucking interesting. Because that's one thing I want is a better idea of the map. But how about the fact it's the UN's map, right in plain sight? That's the United Nations map.
I don't know if you know this or not, but the UN map is simply a two-dimensional projection of the three-dimensional Earth, which ironically also happens to be the Flat Earth map as well. Those idiots have still failed to explain why Australia on their map is so much larger and distorted than it is in real life.
It shows you seasons also. It shows you how seasons work. Because if you look, the sun travels in and out between the tropics. And when it's on the inside, it's our summer. When it's on the outside, it's our winter and the southern summer. And it makes perfect sense. And just remember that wherever the sun is, it's noon. So right now it's noon in Australia, so on the west side of Australia.
Oh my god, Owen Benjamin's face is killing me right now. Once Dirth started trying to explain seasons with his bullshit, Owen lost all interest and started thinking about porn again. Even Owen Benjamin knows Dirth is an idiot.
That's fascinating.
It's pretty cool. It's got a bunch of features on it. It shows you your weather for the day. I'm always expanding it, making it more. It's fun, and the other thing is, every day I put a new video on it, but then it has the video archive. So if you're researching Flat Earth, you hit the video archive, you got a huge playlist of the best Flat Earth videos, whether it's mine, Jeranisms, it doesn't matter. There's all different stuff on there, and if you watch one good video a day, in 2 weeks you'll be a Flat Earther.
I beg to differ, Dirth. I personally comb through hundreds, if not thousands, of Flat Earth videos a week looking for prime stupidity like this video, and I'm still not a Flat Earther. I think because you have to meet certain requirements before becoming a Flat Earther. First, you must be scientifically and mathematically illiterate. Second, you must deny observational reality. And third, you must be a total fucking idiot. Now, I'd like to take the time out to thank Owen Benjamin for allowing Dirth to come onto his show and showcase precisely how stupid they both are. Because Owen Benjamin, you, and Dirth are both fucking idiots. So it's that time again. Another video started, another video ended. I'm truly honored to have reached 10,000 subscribers in just over a year on YouTube. And I'm truly humbled by the support the community has given me. Each and every one of you guys are absolutely amazing, and I couldn't ask for a better group of subs. I'm Father Skeptic, and I'm out.